Have you ever wondered how the Bible, one of the most influential books in history, came to be? In this video, we'll explore the crucial role the Catholic Church played in shaping the Bible as we know it, from selecting the Old Testament books to defining the New Testament. But there's much more behind these sacred pages. We'll dive into the essence of beliefs, the power of traditions, and the questions that challenge our understanding of the divine. Are you ready to question what you've always believed? Stay with us and find out. Many people are unaware of how the Bible came to be. In the Western tradition, we owe the Bible's existence to the Catholic Church. They played a crucial role in consolidating the Old Testament books, which, by the time of Christ, had not yet been definitively decided upon by the Jewish community. It wasn't until around 100 AD at the Synod of Jamnia that the Jews finalized the canon of the Old Testament. These canonical books were later compiled into the Masoretic text, with the earliest surviving copy dating to the early 10th century AD. The New Testament books were not officially determined until 382 AD, during the Synod of Rome under Pope Damasus. Thus, it was the Catholic Church that formalized the Bible, presenting it as a collection of scriptures based on their authority and long-standing tradition, believed to be inspired by the Holy Spirit. Historically, the Bible has come to us through the Church's endorsement, which asserts that the Church, guided by the Holy Spirit, holds the authority to interpret the Bible. Ultimately, it's up to you to decide whether you accept this authority or not. Different religions have their own sacred texts, which they regard as divinely inspired. Hindus see the Vedas as divine revelations, Muslims view the Quran as divinely inspired, and some Buddhists consider their sutras to be of Buddhic origin. Similarly, the Japanese believe that ancient Shinto texts have divine origins. So who decides what is true? If the Church claims that the Bible is true, the question remains, will you believe the Church or not? You are free to believe that the Bible is literally true and was directly dictated by God to Moses, the prophets, and the apostles. That's your right. Though I personally don't share that belief, I do think that the Bible is divinely inspired to some extent. But since this inspiration comes through human channels, it is susceptible to distortion. Just as my voice might be altered by the sound system I'm using, divine messages can be influenced by the limitations of human language and experience. Consider this: anyone who receives what they perceive as divine inspiration will express it through the framework of their own language and upbringing. This isn't just about the specific languages like English or Latin, but also the religious and cultural terms available to them. I believe that Jesus of Nazareth, like Buddha, Sri Ramakrishna, or Ramana Maharshi, had a profound experience of what we call cosmic consciousness. This kind of experience isn't exclusive to any particular religion. It can happen to anyone, often unexpectedly, and can be likened to falling in love. It's a universal phenomenon, though sometimes it follows long periods of meditation and spiritual practice. When people experience this cosmic consciousness, they often feel deeply inspired and perceive the divine in others. For instance, Kabir, a revered Hindu-Muslim mystic, would look at people in his old age and say, "To whom shall I preach?" because he saw the beloved in everyone. Asian traditions, including Hinduism, Buddhism, and Taoism, are filled with miraculous stories that are often accepted without question, viewed as expressions of psychic power. However, I'm concerned about the growing fascination with psychic phenomena, which I refer to as psychotechnics. Given the issues we've faced with ordinary technologies, it's troubling to think about the potential consequences of psychotechnics, such as raising people from the dead or excessively prolonging life. Regarding miracles, imagine being in the position of God. The apostles, awed by Jesus' miracles, revered him as one might revere a guru. This veneration led to Jesus being elevated to a position that was safely distant from ordinary human experience, so his transformative cosmic consciousness wouldn't challenge others. Those who expressed similar experiences when the church held political power were often persecuted. Think of Giordano Bruno, John Scotus Eriugena, and Meister Eckhart. By pedestalizing Jesus, the church effectively suppressed the transformative power of the gospel. Both Catholic and Protestant traditions have, to varying degrees, presented a diluted version of the gospel. Traditionally, Christians are expected to follow Jesus' example despite not having the divine advantages Jesus himself had, such as being the Son of God, born of a virgin, or performing miracles. This creates an impossible standard for followers, leading to a perpetual sense of guilt and inadequacy. Christianity has institutionalized guilt as a virtue, making followers constantly aware of their shortcomings. This guilt is reinforced through practices like confession, where despite assurances of divine forgiveness, the sense of guilt persists. This creates a cycle where believers feel more guilty and distant from Christ. In contrast, a more profound Christianity might focus on the essence of Jesus' message, that he came to reveal that we all share in divine sonship. In John 10:30, Jesus says, "I and the Father are one," and when accused of blasphemy, he references Psalm 82:6, saying, "I have said you are gods." This suggests that Jesus saw divine sonship as a universal truth, not unique to himself. The key message of the gospel is not just about Jesus being the Son of God, but about the realization that we all share in this divine nature. This truth has been obscured throughout Western religious history, which has often depicted Jesus as a unique, celestial monarch, rather than acknowledging the universal divine nature of humanity. To truly understand the gospel, we need to see Christ as a mystic in the true sense, one who realized and expressed union with the divine. If Christianity is to be more than a forgotten religion, it must embrace this broader, inclusive understanding. Churches should focus on contemplation, helping people connect with the divine presence within themselves, rather than just engaging in theological debate. Ultimately, the gospel's true message is about recognizing our own divine nature and oneness with the universe. This realization is the core of Jesus' teachings and what can truly inspire and transform individuals. Please consider subscribing to the channel and enabling notifications to stay updated on future content. We also invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below.